Hi everyone, this is our channel, Meet the Real Story. Please like, share and subscribe.
What do you mean that she's pregnant? I asked my father. I'm sorry, but I cannot change the fact that something happened between us and now she's pregnant. He said it as if it was a matter of fact. I know you're all wondering who I'm talking about and why I sound upset that someone is indeed pregnant. But before I continue telling you this story, I want to make sure that you would stick around. So aside from hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell, leave something at the comment section as well. Do you want me to start telling you the story from the top? Yeah, I figured. My name is Maine. I come from a well-off family. Not that I'm bragging, but that is the truth. Let's just say my life is very ideal, except for the fact that I feel alone most of the time. I don't have any siblings. My mother died when I was 5, and I only have my dad, whom I love very much. But since we only have each other, he's kind of strict. I'm 20 now, but I'm still not allowed to have a boyfriend until I'm 21. What difference would a year make? I know, right? Also, I'm not allowed to leave the house without a driver and a bodyguard. And yeah, because of that, I still don't know how to drive. And on top of it all, I cannot just invite friends over to the house, especially boys. My dad is so overprotective, and I could not count how many times I wished that he would have a new girlfriend and would remarry so I could enjoy my own life. But one day the phrase, be careful what you wish for, suddenly made sense to me. Make sure you're ready to hear this. Hold on to something, okay? My dad got my boyfriend's mom pregnant. See, I know you have the same reaction as I did when I first heard it. How did I ever get into this mess? Well, it all started during the summer last year. Our company almost closed down. I'm not sure why. Anyway, let's not go there. I remember how my dad got so stressed over it, but he eventually won the case and he still closed deals with other clients, which made the competitor even more threatened. One time, while my dad and I were jogging together, we saw a woman who got hit and run by a mini truck, so we went in her direction to help. She was not too badly hurt, but she was unconscious. No blood. Still, we're no doctors, so we called an ambulance and we went with her. My dad noticed that this woman is actually his nemesis, the one who sued him. But of course, we still helped her. We left the woman when we were assured by the doctors that she's gonna be okay. We also called her family before we took off. On our way home, I told my dad that he's a good person for helping his nemesis because she was in need. From now on, I will never contradict your decisions. I will start learning about our company. I told him with a smile. Are you sure about that? You're not allowed to change your mind anymore, he said with a spark in his eyes. Yes, I promise, I said firmly. I know this would mean less hanging out and less shopping time with friends, plus he might book me for a trip abroad for some seminars and crash courses that would last for a year, but I don't mind. I know I would be the CEO of our company eventually, and it would not hurt to start early. A week later, while I was being trained by my father's executive assistant at our office, I saw a woman with an intimidating outfit storming to the reception area. She looked familiar. I excused myself and went near her so I could hear what she's asking the receptionist. I'm looking for Leo, is he here? The woman asked in a straightforward manner. I saw how the receptionist was taken aback. Do you happen to have an appointment, ma'am? The receptionist asked. I looked at her closely and I realized who she was. She's the woman who got into an accident, my father's nemesis. I do not know what pushed me to talk to her, but hi, how have you been? Are you well? I asked her sincerely. She reciprocated with a sincere smile and said, Hi, I'm good now. Thank you, but do I know you? I invited her to the empty conference room where I told her everything she needed to know. And that included who I was and what really happened to her that day. I asked her why she looked upset while looking for my dad, but she explained as follows. That morning, I decided to take a walk, and I had the mistake of wearing a piece of jewelry. A family heirloom that is roughly $1 million. I know I banged my head hard, but I'm not sure why the ring is not on my finger anymore when I woke up in the hospital. She saw how my jaw dropped. $1 million ring? That's a huge amount. I do not want to give her a lecture about how she should not have worn it while having a jog, but I didn't have the heart to. And it's not my place anyway. I'm sure she knows that, and it's not her fault that she got into an accident. Okay, maybe I feel for her because I also wear my rings while jogging. I know your father does not have anything to do with it, but I'm just hoping you guys saw something, she said with a sad tone to her voice. No, I'm really sorry. When we saw you, you were already unconscious, I told her. She did not insist on anything anymore. She let it go and left the office. That same night, Dad and I ate at my favorite fancy restaurant as a reward because I behaved like a professional during the first week of my training. I'm sure your mom would be so proud, he said, and his facial expression changed from ecstatic to really sad. Do you still miss her? I asked. Every single day, he said with a half smile. A few moments later, I saw Mrs. Judy, my father's nemesis slash the woman who got into an accident. I'm not sure what happened to me, but I excitedly called her out, Miss Judy! She was startled, but she smiled the moment she saw me. She walked into our direction. My dad and I both stood up to greet her. Are you alone? Would you like to join us? I asked politely. My dad just smiled at us, but I saw the approval in his body language, so Miss Judy decided to join us. But, oh, I'm not alone. We requested another chair from the waiter. I asked her if she's with her husband. No, dear, I'm single. I'm here with my son, she said. Oh, there he is, she said while looking at the restaurant entrance. Do you know that moment in the movies where you see a really hot and tall guy and suddenly everything is in slow motion? Yeah, that happened to me. I was out for like 30 seconds. I was just staring at him. And embarrassingly enough, my mouth was wide open and I was drooling and I had to wipe it off. Hi, I'm Randy. He extended his hand. I accepted it and we shook hands. Maine, I responded shortly. There was electricity and birds and butterflies. Do you know that warm, fuzzy feeling inside? Yeah, I know you get that. And yes, he gives me that. All throughout the night, my dad and Miss Judy kept on talking about business, and Randy and I kept on stealing glances. He's got this great, sweet, and boyish smile. I just could not get enough of him. It is my first time having a huge crush on someone, and I must be acting like a fool at that time. The night ended, and before we all parted ways, he managed to steal me away from our parents and he asked for my digits. I gladly gave him my digits like a giddy kid. That night ended pretty well. 2 weeks later, I found myself at my favorite coffee shop staring at my phone and was still waiting for his text. Will he ever text me? I should not have acted like I'm super interested in him. That might have turned him off. I left the coffee shop, went to the office, did a quick catch-up dinner with friends, and went home still waiting for his message. I was about to go to sleep, and I wanted to throw my phone out of frustration. I hate false hopes. I just buried my face on my pillow because I hate how disappointed and frustrated I was. Then I heard my phone ring. I absent-mindedly answered it without checking who it was. Hello? He said. Who's this? I asked. Hi, this is Randy, Judy's son. I hope you still remember me, he said. I bit the edge of my pillow so I would not let out a big scream. He did not hear a response for a few seconds. Hello? Just a moment, I said. Then I jumped up and down a few times to let out the overflowing giddy feeling. I let out a little scream as well. Then I talked to him again. Oh, hi, how have you been? I asked, and I do not remember smiling that big my whole life. He told me that he was very sorry that he was not able to message me right away because he got super busy with work, and he asked me if I'm available next morning. I would do a morning jog near your area. Maybe you want to do it together? He asked. In a heartbeat, I said, "Oh, yeah, sure. See you then." And then he hung up. I was so happy I jumped up and down on my bed for a full minute while screaming. The next morning, I took out my most beautiful exercise gear because I obviously would like to impress Randy. He picked me up at 5 in the morning and we jogged for a couple of hours. And then he said, "Breakfast is on me." "Sure," I responded. We had breakfast at my favorite coffee shop and he ordered all of my favorites. He ain't cheap. We started sharing stories about family and business. He said that he's not the biological son of Miss Judy. Randy is actually the nephew of Miss Judy. She adopted him when his parents died in a car accident. I also told him about my story and we realized that we have something in common, and the connection is really strong. It may not be an ideal date because we were both sweating like crazy, but it was a really memorable and fun one. And ever since then, we became jogging buddies. We always have breakfast after. It went on for a while. Then one day, Randy asked if we can officially start dating. I told him that we can date, but we cannot really tell my dad yet because he would freak out. I told him about the 21st birthday thing. He found it funny, but he still respected it. With that said, we try to be careful as can be. We sometimes even went to a different town to have dinner, just to make sure that my dad would not see us. I always bribed the executive assistant of my dad, so she would let me sneak out for lunch and be with Randy for a while. So far, we've already eaten at my fancy favorite restaurants, watched movies together, went to his place to watch some Netflix, went to the mall together, partied with friends, and a lot more. Sometimes I ask my friends to lie for me. I feel really bad about it, but I'm just waiting for my 21st birthday, which is only a few months away. One time, I was having lunch with Randy near our office, but then my dad entered the restaurant with his business partners. He saw us holding hands. I know he was mad, but he just could not react right away because of his companions, but I know that as soon as I got home, he would start grilling me like a barbecue. And true enough, when I got home, he was fuming mad. He said that he would send me abroad for a while so I could forget about Randy. That night, Randy and I talked over the phone. We were both crying because we don't want to be apart from each other. That same night, my dad and Miss Judy met at a lounge inside a hotel to talk about what happened. Miss Judy was shocked to know that Randy and I were dating, but she said she likes me for her son. My dad likes Randy, but he's just really concerned about our future. They agreed that they would do everything to keep us apart, at least until we reached the right age. When Dad got home, we got into a fight because of a lot of things. "Why can't you let me have a boyfriend?" I asked. "Because I don't want you to get into trouble," he said. I was just shocked with his answer, and I gave up. I could not really argue with my dad about it. I know he means well, but I have my own life too. Randy and I are not even officially dating. We just enjoy each other's company. And if we want to make it official, we're already at that stage of our relationship. I would not hesitate because I know he's worth it. But anyway, seems like this is a lost cause. I don't really want to add gas to the fire. I agreed to go abroad. A week before my trip abroad, Randy called me and asked me to go with him for the last time to a scheduled beach where we can be alone and just create memories to be together. I immediately said yes to him. And so I lied to my dad and said that I'll spend the night at a friend's place. But then my dad's instincts kicked in and he decided to call Miss Judy and ask where Randy was. When Miss Judy said, "He's taking care of something for an event at the nearest beach," my dad instantly knew that Randy and I were together. In half an hour, my dad was already at the driveway of Miss Judy's house. He picked her up so they could follow us to the beach. Little did they know that our trip was cancelled. We went back to the city because there was a fallen bridge in the way. We decided to have dinner at the hotel instead and promised each other that we will wait for each other no matter what. I will wait for you, I promise, he said. Maybe our love is not for now, but I'm sure someday we'll be together again, Randy said. I hugged him tightly, and he dropped me off at my house. As I entered my room, my dad called me. Where were you? I told my dad that I was dishonest to him, but I apologized and I told him that I'll never lie to him again. You wait until I'm back, my dad said and just left. I waited for him, but he was not home until 4 in the morning. I started to get worried. I tried to call him, but I could not reach him. Randy called me and said that he's beginning to worry as well for Miss Judy. We both decided to go down to the police station to report whatever is happening. The next day, my dad got home safely, but he didn't want to discuss anything that happened. I went on with my trip abroad, but Randy followed me there. I flew back home for my 21st birthday and Randy proposed to me in a very cozy restaurant. My dad and Miss Judy did not know about this. I know that they will be shocked by this news, and it may not be what they want for us, but it is what it is. Then something strange happened. My dad called and said that I should ask Randy to come over. I was very excited, and I told Randy that maybe it was the right time to tell him about our engagement. When I got home, I was smiling from ear to ear, but my dad and Miss Judy's faces were full of darkness. Randy and I were so worried for them. She's 2 months pregnant, my dad said, referring to Miss Judy. I was shocked, and Randy asked who the father of the baby was. I am, my dad said. Randy and I looked at each other, and I knew we had the same thing in mind. This cannot be happening. We cannot share a sibling, we just got engaged. My dad started telling the story of how it happened. That night that we were supposed to get away, they followed us and got stranded. And so they decided to check into the secluded beach. They started sharing stories. My dad learned that Miss Judy was not able to get married and have a baby of her own because of how much she loves Randy. She dedicated all of her time to raising him. My dad also shared the same sentiments. He said he never thought of getting remarried when my mom died because he doesn't want to make me feel even more alone. Then the night got into them and one thing led to another. As of the moment, Miss Judy was 2 months pregnant. I thought Randy and I would be the one asking our parents' approval for marriage, but funny that it was actually the opposite. Randy and I gave up our love for the people who love us the most. It is their turn to be happy. We love each other, but we do not want to mess up our family tree, so we decided not to pursue any feelings we have for each other. And that ring that Randy bought for me? Well, we let Miss Judy have it as her engagement ring. I guess it would be the new family heirloom. A year later, my dad and Miss Judy got married, and I finally had a sibling, a cute little boy that I really love.